everyone's talking about it, but most people wouldn't really know that the epidemic even exists. It's just the new normal. And only by zooming out and looking at the massive big picture can you see that that's a massive fall off from where we were. Wait, hold up. Very few children had.
Sam and Kit Bowen Russell, who really took skincare into their own hands.
Twin brothers from the UK who are taking the skincare industry by storm.
Sam is a nuclear astrophysicist, and Kit is a geophysicist and author.
A Notre Dame grad and his twin brother are looking to revolutionize skin health.
The two launched a 2-year intensive research study.
Two very smart guys who knew all about bad skin at a very early age.
That woman at the end was our mum, and really she's the face which launched 1,000 questions for us.
So this one's about the chronic disease epidemic. It's really bad and we don't want to make it worse and we want to get rid of it. That's the end of the podcast. Kit, I'll see you later.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's the end. Good stuff. Yeah, right. Well, we don't really need to say much more about it then, do we, in that case?
No, I mean, it's pretty simple.
Exactly. Chronic disease, bad. Need to do something about it. Because no one is. It's getting worse. We will do something about it. You are not. We good, you bad.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. The reason I talk about the chronic disease epidemic is, especially in America, it's a massive buzzword. Everyone's banging on about the chronic disease epidemic, and especially in the Maha circles, everyone's talking about it. But most people, wouldn't really know that the epidemic even exists, would they? They wouldn't know that anything is happening. Most people would, but we start to see things and accept things as they are. So we accept like anything, like huge amount of peanut allergies or eczema in someone on acne. We accept these as just normal parts of life. Whereas when you look at it, that signals a massive epidemic.
Yeah, good point. So we just get used to all these things which are so abnormal, but we think they're normal. It's the new normal, isn't it? Which loads of people, and I think that about sometimes when I walk around and I see everyone miserable and stuff like that. I think it's the new normal which we've come to accept, or like people being unfriendly and impolite. But it's the same thing. We've come to accept this new normal in health, where you just expect people to have acne and you expect like whatever it is, 25% or 30% of children to have skin problems, things like that.
Yeah, death by 1,000 cuts. It's just the new normal gets shaved off each day until you're down here. And only by zooming out and looking at the massive big picture can you see that, that's a massive fall off from where we were. So say if you look at stats, you can see stats about there's been a 500% increase or more in cases of childhood eczema over the past 75 years. And it's probably higher now because that was taken about 15 years ago or so. But when you zoom out and you see, wait, hold up, very few children had eczema when we were young. Very few children when our parents were young. Very few children had allergies when they were young. So now there's masses and everyone just takes it as normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that was our, did you say our parents' era?
I'm comparing it to even just our parents' era, but 75 years ago is obviously longer than that.
Yeah, much longer. But no, you're right. I mean, and then you go even further back to our caveman ancestors, and they had none of these diseases, didn't they? So yeah, in a nutshell, quick podcast, but huge explosion in these chronic diseases, which again, and I think there's something people talk about. You mentioned death by 1,000 cuts. Who coined that phrase?
I have no clue.
I can't remember who it was.
Let's just say it was the great philosopher Samuel and Russell.
It wasn't you, but yeah.
I've patented it now. I've copyrighted it because it was made by someone 2,000 years ago, probably.
Yeah. You know, when things happen so slowly, like your hair grows or your child grows, and because it happens so slowly, you just get used to it, because if things happen fast, you're like, wow, that was crazy. But things have happened quite slowly and under our noses with this chronic disease epidemic. So it feels like, oh, nothing's really changed much. So what you need to do is compare how we live now to how we lived even 75 years ago. And you'd look at the change, astonishing. Even things like when you look at pictures of beaches, it's crazy just looking at the body shapes of people on the beach compared to now.
Well, again, one of the massive parts of the chronic disease epidemic is the obesity crisis. So I can't remember numbers, but they said something like 40% of people are clinically obese in the USA, or maybe it's more than that, of adults. And you think?
I think that was the old figure, Sam, but actually now I think it's gone beyond that.
Probably. But either way, even if we're just talking in the ballpark figure of 40%, say that's close to half of all adults are clinically obese. I mean, that's the most shocking stat I've ever heard.
Yeah,
it's
I think
absolutely shocking.
I think they said something like, I can't remember. Again, this is very off the cuff, but I think 60% of adults in the US were now said to be overweight as well. So that's not clinically obese or morbidly obese or whatever, but it's just overweight, which is crazy. And then if you look at these pictures from my mum and dad's day on the beach, they look the beaches look amazing. Everyone's like attractive and thin. Not fat shaming, because obviously we're not into that, are we? But it's just astounding, like the change in how things have gone. And there's so many reasons for it as well. So we won't go into the reasons, but I think it's really important just to show that actually these things which have become normal in our society have crept up on us, and they feel like they're normal now, but actually change is huge.
Yeah, so when talking about the chronic disease epidemic, and in general, what we started 20 years ago or so, was this fixation. We uncovered the skin allergy epidemic. 500, starting off with stats like 500% increase in cases of childhood eczema, and in general, childhood skin problems and allergies have just absolutely exploded. And to see this happening in a very short period of time, so it's happening slowly on the day-to-day basis. So it's not you just get used to it like death by 1,000 cuts, but it's happening pretty fast. Only 75 years, it goes in a 500% increase. That's very fast. So the fact that that's happening shows, again, like we said, there must be something in our environment that's causing that. And if there's something in our environment that's causing this massive explosion, then what is it, and how do we get rid of it really quickly?
That's it in a nutshell, isn't it? Yeah. And skin problems are a big one, because if you look at the graphs for allergies, you see food allergies leveling off. You see respiratory allergies leveling off in the last 10 or so years. But skin allergies and skin problems are the only ones which are exploding and actually increasing in their rate of acceleration, which is scary, isn't it?
Yeah, so you always say that, don't you? That there's, in the last 10 years, there's actually been an increased rate of acceleration.
Yeah, and only in skin allergies. So again, the question is, why is it only in skin allergies and not lung allergies or food allergies? And then that leads on to another podcast. But the skin is becoming, from all of our research, we're showing how important the skin is for everything. So destroy your skin at your peril is our message.
Yeah, and so there's our lives basically have been looking at what's causing this massive increase in skin allergies, the skin allergy epidemic. And then weirdly or not weirdly, it joined up with the overall chronic disease epidemic that America is not only just talking about now, but they're absolutely going for, and because they've realized how big a problem it is, not just health-wise, but in terms of everything. If you've got people who are so ill chronically that they can't work, they can't live happy lives, and therefore if they're not living happy lives, then they're not going to bring a happy country. And there's so many reasons why having a skin allergy epidemic and therefore a chronic disease epidemic is bad for the country that you're living in. And that's why MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, is now at the top of health priority in the USA.
Yeah. Quick quiz before we finish, Sam. And again, the statistics have moved on a little bit from maybe the official statistics because we're rapidly approaching 2026. But how many people in the US suffer with a chronic health condition, chronic disease?
Chronic health.
So not how many, just percentage will do.
75%. What was it?
Yeah, I think it's up there at nearly or at 70 now, isn't it?
Can't remember. What was we took at our talk about 2 years ago? What did we say? The stat was 60%.
No, that was outdated information. So that was information, I think, from 2020 or 2021, and that was 50%. But now I think I saw something the other day. It only came out really recently, but it's around about maybe upwards of 60%, heading towards 70. I'll have to check that.
Okay, so yeah, 75 is a bit high, but that makes now the 60% or whatever it is. I think it is. You're right. 60% is ringing a bell. That makes that, well, in a slight way, look smaller with me saying 75%, but that's absolutely crazy. Chronic disease.
Okay. Second question. Again, your answer from the first will help with this one. Give you a big clue. So how many deaths worldwide? Again, this is maybe not updated information, but how many deaths worldwide are due to chronic diseases?
Deaths worldwide? You mean per year or per year?
Yeah, percentage of deaths worldwide per year.
55? No, 65?
74%.
70. Oh, that was what I was thinking of, the 75%. I was getting that mixed up.
Yeah, that's what you were thinking of. And then final question. Let's say how many, this is a hard one, but how many people in total worldwide have a skin problem?
In total, I've got to do percentages.
Hold on, not percentages. This is an actual number.
Okay, so 1.9 billion.
Absolutely right. Well done.
It came to me at the end there. I should know these stats, but there's so many that we pass through each day.
Yeah, exactly. But 1.9 billion was the one you got absolutely bang on. So well done. The other two were slightly muddled. Maybe you were doing what Oz, the mentalist, does and just muddling letters and numbers up in your mind. And
yeah, but I saw you signaling subconsciously and subliminally to me with your 1 coming up here and then your 9 here. I saw you doing that. So
good, Sam. So that's the highly informative crash course in the skin allergy epidemic and also the wider chronic disease epidemic in our online lecture courses for dummies.
Exactly. Well, that's all that's needed. And every time, like I said, we talk about the reasons why this is happening. There's something in our environment that we're choosing to do, which is the craziest thing. But we're going to end on that cliffhanger and that bombshell. We're going to talk about the reasons why it's happening next time.